All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's more than one medium to hear or watch or view this content. So the best place to go is the blog. And the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And I know that's a lot to type in, so wherever you are listening or watching this, look for an open intro, description, details, something like that button. Click that, and another box opens, and it has a link to the blog, directly to the blog. So you click there, and it takes you there. The video's there, and all of the articles are there in full for free. You don't even have to put in your email address, nothing. It's just there. All right, let's see. So, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever I post, I'm my FX Buddies. RSS.com, when it's up, has a transcript because it's hard to follow me or understand me, whatever. And it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. Much better than YouTube's. Oh, and speaking of YouTube, anything I show is covered by fair use disclaimer because I'm just commenting, critiquing, sharing, or teaching. All right. So it is the day after the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Eagles. Yeah, it was pretty much a blowout, but yeah. So anyway, we're not going to talk about that because that's not what we're here to talk about. All right. So this heading article, it was just the one. I don't even really care about this. There's other stuff that we're going to talk about. To me, that's more important. Oh, you know what? Well, anyway, all right, so but let's do the little summary of stuff that I just summarized. Uh, so remember I kept saying something was going on in Syria, but I couldn't get the details. I couldn't figure it out. Well, we were doing something, and over the weekend, Israel. Oh, I just said it, and I try not to say it. Anyway, they dropped kablooey on Syria. Now I don't know where and why and who. I don't know all of that, but if the image that they showed on the article that I just glanced over, if that was the right image, because sometimes they'll pull a stock, they call it a stock photo, and just use that. It was pretty big. It was a pretty big explosion. And so now what I'm concerned about is the Houthis had been quiet because it had been peaceful, right? They were delivering hostages and prisoners or whatever they call them. Everything was going well, and for some reason that happened. I'm not sure. So the Houthis just they don't care. They don't like Ice Cream Land, and they'll just be like, "Oh, okay. So that's what we're doing now. All right." you know so we'll see what happens. There's a lot of talk um in public, right? I'll say public tweets, articles between Iran and the T-Man. Yeah, actually, I was waiting to see if Sudani was gonna have communication with him because of that the trip to Iran. And then Iran came, remember Iran came to Baghdad. Okay, so I have to remember to look for that. But I'll show you. Um, I'll show you that was my phone. The article that it showed Iran and Iraq signing a new electricity agreement, right? Despite the waiver being cut off. And yeah, so it there's a lot going on. That meeting, there was supposed to be a emergency meeting or a special meeting or something. It did not happen. And I know I didn't post the article. Let me see. But I did pull it up and I was going to show it. But I don't see it. But there was some disagreement. Well, first, the state coalition, something that's not, it's not tied to Maliki, they pulled out. And then the Sunnis pulled out. And so I'm not exactly sure what happened, just some disagreements about stuff, what's new, right? So yeah, so that happened, or didn't happen, rather. And yeah, that's it. So, okay, so we'll get into it. All right. Controversy over the dollar in Iraq, expectations of a price increase, and the government reassures. Really? Can the government reassure anything? So, and it's kind of, well, it is, so this is long, but of course, what am I going to say? But it's good. It's good. They had a lot of citizen education over the weekend. If you didn't, so this is episode 20. Episode 19 has an article, despite the, or because of the liquidity crisis, why doesn't Iraq print more currency? You should go there and read that if you didn't read that. It's full of citizen education. And if you've been here for a long time, you already know that stuff, right? Okay, so let's see. It's also, they've taken words, I guess, from multiple people. Here's an economic expert, Ziad Hashimi, and he is for the central and southern parts of Iraq. They're talking about the rate or the gap between the parallel market rate, which has been stable. I know that doesn't make sense, but it's not moving more. It goes down to 1490 and it won't go. And actually, that's up, right? 1490 is a better value, a higher value of the dinar to dollar, even though it's a lower number, right? Or it goes to 1505, 1515. So even though it's like fluctuating there, it's still stable. It's been there. So it's kind of like it's just waiting, right? And there's no demand. Actually, there's no more holidays. Well, uh, Ramadan's coming at the end of this month, but I don't think there's any more holidays, so there shouldn't be any extra demand for the dollar. It would just be the people who have the right to get the dollar, which is who? People traveling, right? People going, studying abroad, and if they're going abroad for healthcare. So also though they mention something that Muhammad Salih talked about regarding financial policy. Lots of talk about monetary policy and financial policy. Regarding financial policy, Saleh confirmed that it has effective tools to control expenditures and increase revenues without compromising with the stability of the macro economy, stressing that resorting to financing the fiscal deficit through inflation, or what is known as inflationary taxes. And I think that's interesting. If you listen to, well, I'll go back. Let me finish reading this and I'll tell you why I think that's interesting. So, is one of the worst financing policies due to the price fluctuations it causes and the negative repercussions on the purchasing power of the general budget and citizens' cash income. And that is a standard around the world, right? What's happening here to a lot of us? Things are up 20%, 30%. So it's cutting into our purchasing power, right? So, but if you listen to some people and not like the Fed people or government people, but talking heads, and if you have economic people you like to listen to on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, they say that's a silent tax. Inflation is a way, or one guy I know, he says it's theft. It's flat out theft. That's how they steal from us and we don't even know, right? But it's true though. It's true. So yeah, and anyway, so I just thought that was interesting that so they're learning this lesson in Iraq, and we are too, and around the world, everywhere around the world is having some type of inflation issue. Okay, all right. So this is, like I said, it's a long article, but it's good. All right. So what's next? And this came out today, even though we're going to talk about yesterday. So here, look at this. Ramadan Bank calls on MasterCard holders to provide it with a valid passport. Why would that be? And then also it does include Visa too, and Visa cards. So people outside of the country, if they don't submit a valid passport by March 7th, their cards are going to stop working internationally. That's very interesting to me. Why March 7th? And, I don't know. Now I would say I've never seen this before, but duh, because they haven't really been widespread. There's been certain people who could do transactions internationally, the elites, right? Students, athletes, when they go play, they get special cards that could work internationally, right? But now it's much wider. There's a broader array, I guess, of people who are doing international deals. So I think they want to keep track, right? Governments love to track their citizens. So I think that's what that's about. But why March 7th? Why is that the cutoff date? So I want to read more into that, but I'm not going to. Okay, so a day after that article about the liquidity crisis comes out, of course, what do? They send Muhammad Salih to reassure employees and retirees there's no fear for financial liquidity. And again, they talk about the monetary mass. So that was 4 or 5 days, I lost track, in a row where they talked about they need to get the money, the monetary mass, the money that the people keep in their homes, which he says is about 85 to 90%. One of the other articles that came out said it was 70%. So I'm inclined to believe him because he is in the government and has been for like 43 years. So yeah, so I'm really liking this push. They're trying to push the people to bring their hoarded money in. All right. Let's see. Sudani, the door is open for Kuwait to enter into development projects. Kuwait's been coming and going for about 2 months. The door is open for the state of Kuwait to enter into development projects and benefit from the announced investment opportunities. All right, here, the King of Jordan begins his U.S. visit. He's expected to meet with the T-Man, but he's already met with Pete Hegseth. That's hard for me to say. All right, and Marco Rubio, he's set to meet with him. And then, of course, Tuesday, tomorrow, he's supposed to meet with the T-Man. So Jordan has been, I don't know if we've done anything with Jordan, but Jordan is a big part of Iraq's economy and growing. And I think they just did a deal, Jordan stock market with the ISX, to have joint companies or something. So they're in there and growing. All right. The dollar stabilizes in the parallel market. Is the price madness over? I hope so. So it says the decrease in the dollar exchange rate has a positive impact on citizens' purchasing power. So there's more talk of the citizens' purchasing power, which is that's how they're going to benefit. They're not going to become millionaires. Well, some of them probably will, but not like us. But they will begin to live a better life because they're going to have more purchasing power, right? And things are just going to get better for the country overall. So it should get better for the citizens, right? So it just indicates a possibility of an end to the price madness of the parallel market, but they need to get rid of it altogether, right? So nice short little article. And what's the impact on citizens? The prices come down. They can buy more goods and services with the same amount of Iraqi dinars. So that's a little bit of citizen education. Here, the World Gold Council, that's my phone. Iraq moves up in global gold reserves with the World Gold Council. So did you see? There's a lot going on with gold. Remember I said you should look into what's happening with gold being moved to New York? And they're starting to talk about it a lot now. So you should look into that just to know. Well, in America, I don't know. Maybe other people in other countries too, but definitely if you're in America, gold is at all-time high. It won't be any day now. It's going to hit $3,000. Matter of fact, let's see. We could check. I know you don't come here for that, but I want to be nosy. Yeah, so 29.66 is less than $50 away. All right. All right. So I don't believe this number. They say now they have 162 which metric tons of gold, which would move them probably to number 4 in the Arab world. They've been number 5 forever. And 31st globally, and they had been number 35 forever. I still think they have more than that. So here is in black and white. This person, Iraq signs new gas export contract with Iran. So they're like, to heck with you, T-Man. We're moving forward. Because if you didn't hear, that connection provides 1/3 of the country's electricity. So to just go, oh, sorry, you can't get electricity from them anymore is not, and not have a replacement. It would be one thing to say you can't get electricity from them anymore and have a replacement, but they don't. So, all right. Here, the government has taken steps to revive manufacturing industry. This is Muhammad Salih, if you don't know. This is what he looks like now, pretty much. So if you want to read that, you can. But look at this. In addition to investing in advanced manufacturing technologies such as automation, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing. So they are going to hit the ground running, probably with even more advanced techniques than those, what I just mentioned. But everybody wants to come in. That's my phone. Yeah. All right, here's my one commercial, and thank you to those who have supported. I really appreciate it. This is Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link there for those who like links and a QR code for those who like QR codes. Okay, check this out. This seems to have come out of nowhere. Well, the the hunger strike people in Kurdistan, they're still striking. It's day 14 for them. And they did do their demonstration, but they did it on Friday instead of Saturday. So even though they've paid some of the Kurds, not everyone's been paid. But the whole point is they want this, we'll pay you this month, okay, we'll pay you next month. They want that to stop. They want a regular payment schedule. So that's why they're still striking, even though they've been paid. Some of them have been paid. They want guarantees. And they also want, so they have to use this system called My Account. Well, at least the state employees. I don't know about private sector if they have to use that yet, but the state employees. But over in Iraq, most people that are employed now, I believe, are employed by the government, right? Same thing in Kurdistan. So they want banks, they want options of banks that are not tied to the royal families in Kurdistan. So they want federal bank options, and they even want an option to still get a paper check. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to get that third one. But anyway, the president, who is a Kurd, he brought a suit against Sudani and the finance minister. So you should really read this. It does seem like, here it says, it sparked a wave of widespread criticism, especially since it came at a time when the sit-in of educational cadres in Sulaymaniyah was subjected to suppression with tear gas bombs while they were prevented from entering Erbil Governorate for the purpose of sit-in in front of the United Nations headquarters. So these demonstrations are escalating, and not him, Hushur Zabari, I don't know, this guy that used to be in the government, he's trying to get them to go to Baghdad. He's like, oh, you're not being heard enough. You need to go into Baghdad, into Tahrir Square, and demonstrate there. I don't know about that. But yes, so this seems to be a bombshell out of nowhere. There's other politicians and member of parliament. They've posted some of their Twitter. What do you do? Tweets? Well, I know it's not Twitter anymore. It's X. Their X postings. So yeah, wow. I was like, I'm shocked to see this. I doubt it's gonna hold up the RV, but you never know, right? They could use anything as an excuse, right? They could say whatever, and so this is another thing. So I don't know. It just blew my mind, like I said. So that we'll see where that goes. And it's long, but very interesting. Okay, here's another article about the demonstrations. It says the political class lives in isolation from the suffering of the street. Sounds like something we could say here, right? Let's see. Now this is interesting. But if I were to put the title of this as Iraq ratings affirmed at B-B, you wouldn't have clicked on this. You'd have been like, I don't care about that. So this is the S&P's report. They do it every year. They affirm or confirm Iraq's rating, which they want so badly to have an A rating. But I know there's people out there saying that the dinar is no longer pegged to the dollar. But here you go. Inflation in Iraq is low by regional standards, supported by the Iraqi dinar's peg to the US dollar. And then outside maintaining the pegged exchange regime, the CBI has limited monetary policy tools. So, do you believe the S&P? I don't know. Because if you watched a movie called The Big Short, which if you haven't, you should, The Big Short, it shows in there that ratings can be bought. Okay, so I was just scrolling down here. And this report is extremely long. I don't know why. This one is really long. It was so long, I don't even have the whole thing posted. But there's lots of good information in here, especially if for the citizens. If the citizens read this, they will learn a lot about their monetary policy. So we assume the government will continue relying on indirect monetary financing, albeit largely sterilized, to plug fiscal deficits. So someone would have to look up, what does sterilized mean? How is money sterilized, right? So that is something they would have to learn. It kind of talks about it there, but not a lot. So, if you like stuff like this, you would like this. I read through the part that I have posted, I read through. But see, then I go key statistics and I put there's more to this report. You can see it here. Yeah. It should go right. If everything works as it's supposed to, I like to say, if you click here, it should go right to the original posting, which is in English because it's from the S&P. All right. So what I did there was I took the 2 paragraphs about the dollar being pegged, the dinar being pegged to the dollar, and I separated them. So here's the title of the article, and notice there's no link, right? And I put my 2 favorite paragraphs, and then below that is the full article with the link. Okay, and down here is another. If you read all of that and you want to see more, then I have the link to the full. Look how long that is. Yeah, right there. But it's not live here because this is a preview. But once I actually publish this, it'll be a live link. Okay, we're almost done. So they put out a little teaser. Parliamentary Finance reveals to the news information it received from the government. Budget tables will arrive. I think it's soon. Oh, within the next few days. You see that right there? Yeah. So, I like that. I don't know if I put it in yesterday's or Saturday's posting. Sadani did a speech talking about the 2024 budget. Even though we haven't seen it with the changes, right? He talked about the money, told where investment projects are going, jobs, just all kinds of things. And I'm like, interesting. He talked about the 2024 budget, and they still haven't shown that 4782 Gazette, right? But anyway, okay, so you could read this if you like. The Ministerial Council discusses maximizing revenues and confronting economic and financial crises. This was today also, so this was a meeting. They just discuss things. And then I think the person who runs these meetings is Fuad Hussein, who's the foreign minister. And then I think he reports to Sadani. They talk about grain and electricity, traffic, all kinds of things. They talk about all kinds of things. Yeah, so. Government advisor, financial concerns are unfounded. Again, Muhammad Salih, confirming to the citizens financial concerns raised from time to time about the economic situation in Iraq are baseless. Mm-hmm. And you know he's rich. He's an elite, right? He's an elite. And you know he's rich. So he is far removed from the struggles of the people. The country enjoys good financial flows from oil revenues and others, supported by efficient foreign reserves and promising economic activity in the real sector. What is that? The real sector. See that right there? Yeah, I'm not making that up. That's what it says. And partnership with the private sector witnessed by the country, especially in the sectors of renewable energy, construction, fossil oil, electricity, gas, infrastructure, reconstruction, and housing in an unprecedented manner. And just imagine it'll get even more unprecedented when they finally get to move forward, right? So that was pretty good. And I think this is the last article. Yes. Nope. Oh, here. So we're actually going to skip this. We're not going to, I'm just going to tell you this is an article. The title is about the um, the Baghdad International Fair, an opportunity for commercial integration with the world. So you could read that if you like, but this one I wanted you to see. Sunni Kurdish political boycott postpones state administration coalition meeting. So this was the meeting that we were looking forward to on February 9th that did not take place. And you see it's not very long. Oh, there's one more article. Sorry. This is good too. British ambassador to Baghdad says London will implement major projects and our companies are ready to invest in Iraq. So what has changed that they're ready now? They got off that red list, which was security. It wasn't money laundering and the terrorist, put a T in front of that, activities, right? It was security, and that now Iraq is safe and stable, no longer a security issue. So they're ready to move their people there and move their countries there, evidenced by British Petroleum doing a $25 billion deal in Kirkuk. Remember that? Well, if you didn't remember, I just reminded you. All right, so all in all, it's good um, articles. Nothing backwards, right? Not really forward, but nothing backwards, which is good. So we're looking for a few things this week. An announcement from the not announcement, yeah, announcement from the judge, the Supreme Federal Judge, right, on a few things. I'm waiting to see if there's any mention of Sudani reaching out to the U.S. envoy or the T-Man's administration, but also that Jordanian king being there. That could be another way where they could get a backdoor message because he was just in Iraq. So he's going from Iraq to here. So that could be another way that they get a message through. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a good week. I want to thank new subscribers, thank supporters, and just hang in there, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals, pay all your bills. Remember, we're about 18 days away from Ramadan. If they start on the 28th like they have suggested. So we're going to be here. I know you don't want to hear that, but we're going to be here, in my opinion, based on what I read in the articles. But I do believe this is going to happen. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your, oh, if there's a join, follow, like, subscribe, any button like that, if you'd like to, click that, activate that, whatever. And because I don't update regularly, if all things work like they're supposed to, when I do update, you will be notified. All right, now, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're enjoying this content. And until next time, which I think will be tomorrow.